Welcome to the 210 Nerds. As always, my name is Max James, and in this edition of the TTN Presents, I will be talking about another DVD slash Blu-ray slash TV collecting video. These are my top shelf movies. These are the movies that are in the reigning spot on my shelves. These are the movies that I can pull out of the collection anytime I want and watch them and without any time being passed by or whatever. So, first up is Clerks. This is the movie that the reason why I want to be becoming a filmmaker. Next up is Mallrats. This has the two editions of it. Both versions are equally good, both good and bad in their own way. Chasing Amy. This one just self-explanatory. Next up is Tusk. This movie warrants at least one viewing because it's about a guy getting turned into a walrus. Can't really pass that up. Next is Super. It's directed by James Gunn, who directed Guardians of the Galaxy. So it has a lot of people who are in Guardians are in this movie, and it's just really good. Next up is Red State. I actually got to see this movie when Kevin Smith took it on tour, which was just was just amazing experience. Next up is Cop Out. The reason why I have this is because it's a Kevin Smith movie, but also there is a special feature on here called the Maximum Comedy Mode, where he kind of interrupts the movie and periodically and talks about it. So the movie's about an hour and 40 minutes altogether, roughly, and then when you activate that special feature, the movie gets pushed to like 3 hours, so it's worth the buy. The only reason why I have this particular movie I'm getting ready to talk about is because of commentary by Kevin Smith. It is Roadhouse. The movie's okay in my book, but the commentary is the reason what sold me on the purchase of this movie. Next up is Donnie Darko, the 10th anniversary, which has the director's cut and the theatrical version. Both are good in my book, and some people just from what I read, just think that the director's cut kills whatever came before. Next to the Dragon Tattoo, the David Fincher version, I think it's one of my favorite movies that have a good score to it. I don't really buy soundtracks unless there has some commercial songs to it, but this one has just nothing but just music, no real words to it, so that's why I bought it. Next up is another David Fincher movie, Gone Girl, starring Ben Affleck. I thought that movie was fantastic as well. Next up is the original summer blockbuster, Jaws. This is the Blu-ray. This is the version that everyone should have, is the Blu-ray, because it looks amazing. It sounds great when you have it on a surround sound, which I watch. That's how I watch it. There's no other way to watch it. And next up is the 30th anniversary of Blade Runner. This is the book edition, so it has the little pages in there, and as well as 5 different versions of the movie itself. It has the final cut, the theatrical cut, the international director's cut, just the regular director's cut, and the work print. So I have yet to watch the work print version of it. So up next is The Man with an Iron Fist. This movie is just fun. That's just plain and simple. I don't really own kung fu movies, but or anything within that realm of fighting style or cinematography or the way the movie is made. I don't really have very many of those kind of movies, but was definitely worth a buy. Next up is Fight Club. What can be said that hasn't already been said? Saving Private Ryan in Steelbook. This is one of the messed up versions of it where the audio isn't synced up in some places, but I really don't care because there's so much going on screen that you really don't honestly notice unless you are super picky, which I'm not. This Social Network is up next. This is one of the few movies that I wish I had the soundtrack to, but I don't because I love the Trent Reznor score just like he did for Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Up next is Django Unchained, the Steelbook edition. It's just, you haven't seen that movie, it's a good soundtrack as well. Zodiac, another David Fincher movie. This is one of my favorite crime movies of all time. That kind of set in the real world now because the Zodiac Killer. I don't know how accurate this movie is, but I think the movie is just awesome. Next up is Machete. This was a fake trailer that was included with the Grindhouse movie. If you got to see that movie in theaters, it was paired with, well, I'll just talk about that. With the Grindhouse movies, it has big name directors who did the fake trailers within the movie, because it has Planet Terror, directed by Robert Rodriguez, and Death Proof, directed by Quentin Tarantino. Both really good. One was a zombie movie, and the other one is a kind of in the vein of Vanishing Point and stuff like that. Next is the Quentin Tarantino box set, which includes the movie that he wrote, True Romance, which was directed by Tony Scott, Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown, Volumes 1 and 2 of Kill Bill, Death Proof, the extended version basically that was shown at the Cannes Film Festival or whatever, and then Inglourious Bastards. So those are the movies that were included in that box set. Then also have one of my favorite foreign movies of all time, which is Battle Royale. The one that I compare it to Hunger Games more than anything, and so it just has three different versions. No, it has Battle Royale, the theatrical cut, Battle Royale, the director's cut, and Battle Royale 2, which I've yet to watch again because I've only seen it once and I didn't like it. But since I've kind of grown up movie-wise, watching more mature movies, I might give it another chance here soon. Next is Black Swan, directed by Darren Aronofsky. I love this movie, especially spoilers when she starts kind of transforming into a swan. Just the kind of like just the simple aspects of her kind of pulling a feather out of her back, and there's this one scene with her legs. It was just like, oh man, it just looked too real, and it's a pretty intense movie. Next is Big Lebowski, the book edition. I call them book editions because they do have like little books, so that's why I like it, and it's just a nice case. And then up next is Birdman. I love this movie just for its cinematography alone, because the movie is shot and edited in a way where it looks like it's one continuous take, and that is it's just awesome that way, and it doesn't get old either, because the great acting from everyone, Michael Keaton, Edward Norton, Emma Stone, everyone in this movie. Next up is American Beauty. I think this is directed by Sam Mendes, who has actually been doing the James Bond movies here lately, so that's just to kind of, but I love American Beauty by itself. And then this is the original version of The Dragon Tattoo, starring what type? I can't even pronounce her name right, but these are the original three, and the Swedish versions, which I love, and they're just I know I'm using the word fantastic a lot, but it is. Next is Pirate Radio. Next, outside of the Quentin Tarantino universe, because he likes to use a lot of commercialized music that isn't scored or handmade or whatever specifically for a movie. This is one of my favorite soundtracks outside of the Quentin Tarantino universe that has like licensed music. And up next is the Coronado Three Flavors trilogy, it's World's End, Hot Fuzz, and Shaun of the Dead, all directed by Edgar Wright, starring Nick Frost and Simon Pegg, which are enough for a one night alone. Then, now for the final three movies for this list is that I have, here lately I bought some movies that are all been released from the same company. Most of these movies are relatively related in terms of like either Miramax or Dimension Films or stuff like that. And so these are the movies that have been released through A24 Films that I have actually been kind of really fallen in love with here lately with their movies. First one I bought was actually Tusk is one of them, but I included it in the Kevin Smith selection. Under the Skin with Scarlett Johansson. This movie has been more well known for her on-screen nudity than the movie, but what this movie is, it's a good sci-fi movie. It's about I don't really want to talk about too much about it, but this movie is definitely worth a watch at least once. Up next is another sci-fi movie called Ex Machina. It's just, I love this movie. It's just about this guy who wins a contest and goes out in the middle of nowhere, and he's kind of watching this guy talk about and interviewing this robot who has artificial intelligence, and it's a lot more than that, and it's really good. And recently, I just watched this movie about an hour ago. It's called Slow West, starring Michael Fassbender and Cody, how pronounces that? Smith McPhee or whatever. Yeah, sorry if I'm pronouncing that name wrong, but it's just him kind of on his way west to find the girl that he loves. And there is just, this movie is not very long, but it has some really great moments in there. It's kind of slow in some scenes, but kind of has to live up to the title in some ways. But those scenes were great regardless of how slow they were. That's really it. These are the top movies that sit on the top tier of my shelf that I can watch any time of day. So my name is Max James, and I'm going to go geek out.